find a place where you're going to dig and get your dirt ready so that when everything's up and running, you can start putting it through the plant.
290, 300, 309.1.
Parker Schnabel, a well-known miner, stumbled upon something absolutely mind-blowing that turned the mining world upside down. A massive, forgotten machine buried in the wild, overgrown with weeds, and left to rust for years, yet still loaded with gold, worth a jaw-dropping $400 million. Can you believe something so valuable could just sit there, unnoticed, for decades? How did everyone miss this hidden treasure? Let's dig into the juicy details and find out what Parker's next move is with this incredible discovery. A find so big that it made other miners so jealous they wanted him out of the picture for good. Oh, and before we get deeper into this wild story, hit that subscribe button so you're the first to catch all the latest gold hunting updates. A massive, grimy gold hunting machine called a Trommel, sitting lost and forgotten in the wild, wrapped in thick bushes and vines. It looked like no one had touched it in forever, like a rusty giant just waiting to be rediscovered. This wasn't some sleek modern gadget. It was a huge, tough steel beast built to chew through mountains of dirt and rock back in the day, pulling out gold nuggets and tiny, shiny bits with brute force. Here's the crazy part. Because of old-school methods, a ton of the smaller gold pieces slipped right through its cracks and got left behind. After years of being ignored, this rusty machine was hiding a fortune right under everyone's noses. When Parker Schnabel got curious and peeked inside, he didn't just find gold. He found a hint of something even bigger, something that could change everything we know about this abandoned mining spot. For years, locals had whispered stories about this place. Some said weird things like, "You've got a problem with Lucifer," which might have meant the machine was a mess, maybe a clogged chute or a broken part down in its guts. Others thought the whole operation shut down because the miners ran out of cash or hit some mystery roadblock. There were even tales of untouched piles of dirt near the Trommel, rumored to be stuffed with gold. But no one had the guts to check it out, until Parker came along. When he wiped off the muck and took a closer look, a flash of something shiny made his heart skip a beat. This wasn't just a lucky find. It was the start of a possible gold rush. Bringing the old Trommel back to life was no easy job, though. Parker and his crew had to tackle the monster task of moving this giant machine to a spot where they could fix it up. Then came the sweaty work of rebuilding it, swapping out gears, screens, and patching up the huge steel drum. Every rusty bolt they turned tested their skills and patience, but they kept going because they knew the treasure waiting at the end could be massive. And as they worked, they found something else, a hidden stash of untouched dirt near the Trommel, just begging to spill its golden secrets. When Parker and his team tested the dirt near the Trommel, they couldn't believe their eyes. The results were jaw-dropping. The amount of gold packed into that soil was way higher than anything Parker had ever dug up before. This wasn't just a lucky break. It was a total game-changer. That dirt wasn't just dirt. It was a gold-packed jackpot. To cash in, Parker set up a temporary processing site, mixing old-school mining tricks with the latest tech to make sure they didn't miss even the tiniest speck of gold. The pressure was on big time. Parker knew they had to get it right. He said something like, "We've got 2 parts running, so we've got a real shot at this." And boy, did they hit the mark. Day after day, the gold kept piling up, with the total value skyrocketing into the millions faster than anyone imagined. But the story didn't stop there. As they dug into the Trommel's past, Parker's crew found old records hinting at other forgotten mining sites tied to this machine. It turns out this trommel was part of a whole network of operations, each one possibly hiding its own stash of gold. Those dusty logs were like a treasure map, pointing to spots loaded with gold just waiting to be found. Parker's discovery wasn't just about one big score. It was the key to a massive, history-changing treasure hunt. Fixing up the trommel itself was like stepping back in time. Every rusty gear and banged-up panel had a tale to tell about its glory days, when it was a workhorse churning through dirt like a champ. Parker brought in experts to make sure every repair was spot on, because even one tiny mistake could mess up the whole plan. When that trommel finally roared back to life, it was a perfect mix of old-school grit and modern smarts. Seeing it in action was unreal. It tore through the dirt like a beast, pulling out gold nuggets and tiny sparkles with no trouble at all. For Parker and his team, this wasn't just about the money. Digging into the trommel's history, they uncovered stories of the miners who ran it long ago. Tough folks chasing big dreams in a wild, unforgiving world. Learning about them made the whole project feel bigger, like they were honoring the past while striking it rich. It was a bridge between then and now, a nod to the grit and guts of those who came before. Word of Parker's find spread like wildfire through the mining world. People started buzzing, saying things like, "This is way bigger than we thought." Experts and gold hunters everywhere began wondering what other treasures might be hiding out there in forgotten places. That trommel wasn't just some rusty old machine anymore. It became a shining example of what can happen when you mix hard work with a little luck. It showed that even the most unlikely spots could be hiding something incredible. By the time they wrapped up, Parker's team had hauled in a mind-blowing amount of gold and sparked a whole new adventure in the process. A rusty old machine, once left to rot, turned out to be worth hundreds of millions. That's what happened when Parker Schnabel brought an abandoned trommel back to life, making it the star of one of his biggest wins ever. This incredible find didn't just fill his pockets. It sparked a gold fever, with folks everywhere wondering what other treasures might be hiding in forgotten mining spots. But even with all that value shining bright, Parker and his team knew the toughest challenges were still ahead. This story isn't just about striking gold. It's about digging into the past and breathing new life into things everyone else ignored. In the fast-paced world of gold mining, most people only chase what's shiny and new, overlooking the real goodies buried in history. Parker's rediscovery of this long-lost trommel proves that sometimes the best stuff is hiding under rust and weeds, waiting for someone bold enough to uncover it. Back in its day, this trommel, called a trail by some, was a beast of a machine, built to sift gold from dirt and rocks like a champ. It was a marvel of its time, a giant that roared through the gold rush era. But as newer, fancier tech came along, these old-school giants got left behind, rusting away in quiet corners of the mining world. That's where Parker stepped in. Where others saw junk, he saw a sleeping giant ready to wake up and roar again. The adventure kicked off in a remote spot that used to buzz with gold-hungry prospectors. Among the overgrown ruins, Parker spotted this trommel, buried under years of dirt and vines. Most people would have walked right past it, calling it scrap. Not Parker. He knew these old machines often left gold behind in the dirt they processed, like a secret stash, just waiting for the right person to claim it. This wasn't some small side gig. It was a big, gutsy bet, with a huge payoff on the line. Getting that multi-ton monster out of the wilderness was no joke. It took a whole crew of experts, plus cranes, trucks, and some serious planning to haul the trommel to a workshop. Every bumpy mile was a risk. Would it even make it? But Parker wasn't backing down. Once it arrived, the real fun started. They scrubbed off layers of rust, swapped out ancient parts for modern upgrades, and turned that relic into a gold-churning powerhouse. It was hard work, grit, and a sprinkle of genius. And it paid off big time, taking an old, clunky machine that barely worked and turning it into a sleek, gold-grabbing superstar. That's exactly what Parker Schnabel and his team did with the Trommel, or TRL as some called it. They didn't just fix it up, they transformed it. Out went the rusty old gears and in came shiny, high-tech parts, a powerful new motor, and even smart sensors that made this beast run like a dream. It wasn't just a machine anymore. It was a gold-hunting powerhouse with all the modern bells and whistles. These upgrades weren't just for show. They let the team keep an eye on everything in real time. How much gold they were pulling out, how the dirt was flowing, and even if something got stuck. To make it even cooler, they built a digital version of the TRL on a computer, like a virtual twin. This let them test ideas and fix problems without touching the real thing, saving time and avoiding costly mistakes. They even brought in drones to zoom around and map out the best gold-packed spots with super-sharp images, so every scoop of dirt was a winner. The big day came when they flipped the switch. The giant drum started spinning, dirt poured in, and bam! Gold started pouring out. The results? Absolutely unreal. The TRL pulled in millions of dollars worth of gold, way more than anyone had hoped. Parker's big gamble paid off huge, proving this wasn't just some rusty old junk. It was a hidden gold mine, waiting to shine. But this wasn't just about cashing in. The TRL's comeback sent shockwaves through the mining world. It showed everyone that old, forgotten machines could still be worth a fortune, making people rethink how they hunt for gold. Some scratched their heads, saying things like, "Something's off. Maybe the gold's uneven or the setup's wonky." But that didn't stop the buzz. Prospectors and dreamers started digging through old records, hunting for other dusty treasures to bring back to life. It was like a mini gold rush revolution. And it wasn't all about nostalgia either. Parker's team set a new bar for smart mining, using top-notch tech to get the job done efficiently and responsibly. They proved you could strike it rich while still looking out for the planet. This wasn't just a win for Parker. It was a wake-up call that the past could hold the key to a golden future. Parker Schnabel and his team didn't just strike gold. They struck a balance. Their revamped Trommel, or TRL, pulled out heaps of gold while keeping the environment in check, winning over local folks and fellow miners alike. It proved you can make a profit and still do right by the planet. That old machine, once left to rust, turned into a shining symbol of hope, showing the mining world that there's always more to uncover if you're willing to dig a little deeper. This wasn't just about finding treasure. It was about rediscovering the past and showing that old ideas can still shine today. With guts and grit, Parker's crew turned a forgotten relic into a gold-churning champ, inspiring future miners to keep hunting for hidden gems. The TRL stands tall as proof that when you look past the surface, amazing things can happen. In a world obsessed with the newest tech, this story reminds us that the real jackpot might be hiding in yesterday's leftovers. When that trommel roared back to life, it wasn't just spitting out gold, it was rewriting the rules. A rusty old machine became a history-making hero, blending classic mining know-how with cutting-edge tricks. It showed that mining doesn't have to mean tearing up the earth or wasting resources. Instead, it unearthed a smarter way to work, one that respects the land and still fills the bank. All those abandoned machines dotting the landscape, they're not junk anymore. They're like time capsules packed with potential. pair them with some modern magic, and they're changing the game. The TRL didn't just recover gold, it made a bold statement. You can strike it rich without wrecking everything. It cut down on waste and environmental mess, challenging the old idea that big wins come at a big cost. This machine set a new bar for mining, literally turning dirt into gold while showing everyone a better way forward. People used to scoff at old machinery, calling it useless scrap. Not anymore. Parker's team loaded the TRL with artificial intelligence and slick automation, making it match, or even beat, brand new tech. This wasn't about living in the past, it was about spotting value where others didn't. By mixing the wisdom of yesteryear with today's tools, they proved that the right vision can turn forgotten relics into something incredible. It's a lesson in seeing the possibilities, and a goldmine of inspiration for anyone willing to think big. Never count out a good idea and a fresh start. The story of the TRL, a massive trommel brought back from the junk pile, isn't just about clever tech. It's about guts, grit, and dreaming big. Fixing up this beast opened doors no one saw coming. With fancy mapping tools, Parker's team found gold stashes underground that old-time miners completely missed. And we're not talking tiny flakes, but clues to whole new gold zones that could keep the operation buzzing for years. Someone even noticed, hey, the water's flowing funny on the right side. Maybe it's shifting a bit with all that shaking. Once a forgotten heap of metal, the TRL turned into the golden key to a bunch of hidden fortunes. Bringing it back wasn't easy. Engineers, rock experts, and mechanics teamed up to rebuild it from scratch. Tons of parts were too busted to save, so they crafted custom replacements to fit today's tech. Every hurdle just made them more determined. This wasn't just about patching up an old machine, it was about turning it into something totally new and awesome. The local folks chipped in too, sharing old tales and records that spilled secrets about how the TRL used to run. When it finally roared to life again, it wasn't just a win for the gears, it was a win for the heart. This clunky relic was now faster and sharper than it ever was back in the day. Watching it chew through dirt and spit out gold wasn't just about cash. It was living proof that hard work and smart ideas can do wonders. The TRL's comeback didn't just change things for Parker's crew, it shook up the whole mining world. It shouted loud and clear, "Don't sleep on old equipment or abandoned spots." Parker proved the future of mining doesn't have to trash its past. His team showed that even the rustiest machines can become modern-day gold champs with a little love and creativity. The TRL's journey from scrap to superstar is all about what happens when you mix bold thinking with a never-give-up attitude. This wasn't just a score for Parker. It was a game-changer for everyone in the gold game. Beyond the profits, it rewrote the mining playbook, blending old-school know-how with fresh strategies. Parker's approach is all about keeping things smart and sustainable, and he's even teamed up with universities and brainiacs to cook up new ways to spot value in dusty old gear. The TRL isn't just a machine anymore, it's a lesson in how the past can power up the future, inspiring miners everywhere to rethink what's possible. Parker Schnabel's TRL project isn't just about digging up gold. It's about giving old stuff a new life. His team built smart systems to figure out which rusty parts of the trommel could be fixed up and which needed swapping out. This trick turned what everyone thought was useless junk into pure gold. Literally. And guess what? People all over the world, from Australia to South America to Africa, are now copying Parker, hunting down their own forgotten mining spots to see if they can strike it rich too. Turns out, mining's golden days aren't over yet. By thinking differently about how to pull resources from the earth, Parker's approach is waking up places that were written off as tapped out. It's not just about treasure. It's bringing jobs and giving local towns a big boost. Shops are buzzing, restaurants are hopping, and families are finding new hope. Plus, environmental folks are keeping an eye on this because mining's usually tough on nature. But Parker's proving you can make big bucks and keep the planet happy by cutting waste and working smarter. This isn't some tiny tweak. It's a game changer showing the whole mining world a better way. Someone even said, "We're still like 15 feet from bedrock, maybe 10 feet a week, so 2.5 months to go." That's the kind of real progress people can feel. And it's not just a win for one spot, it's spreading. Towns near mining areas are coming back to life, with businesses growing and folks finding work they didn't have before. The TRL's gold is just the start. It's changing lives and flipping the script on what mining can be. This whole adventure shows that you don't always need to start from scratch to move forward. Sometimes, the best stuff is already sitting there, waiting for a fresh idea. The TRL isn't just some old machine anymore. It's a shining example of what happens when you mix hard work, clever thinking, and a big dream. Parker's not just pulling gold out of the ground. He's pulling new possibilities out of the past, and it's inspiring everyone to see the world a little differently. Parker Schnabel's adventure with the TRL Trommel is like finding an old toy in the attic and turning it into a superstar. His work shows us that even dusty, forgotten things can be super valuable if we're brave enough to give them a fresh twist. Instead of trashing the past, Parker's team proved mining can be kind to the planet, lift up communities, and still rake in the cash, all by building on what's already there. It's not about starting over. It's about making something awesome out of what's been left behind. This story isn't just for miners. It's a wake-up call for all of us. What else are we ignoring just because it seems old school? Parker's pushing us to dig deeper, not just in the dirt, but into our own ideas about what's possible. By giving the TRL a second shot, he's shown that progress doesn't mean tossing out the old stuff. It's about finding new ways to make it shine. And that's a big idea we can all use, whether we're mining gold or dreaming up something new. So, what do you think? Did Parker just get lucky with this find? Or is this rusty old trommel a clue to a giant, hidden treasure that's been sitting there, waiting for someone to notice? Could there be more forgotten goodies out there? Drop your thoughts below. And hey, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss out on the next big discovery.